after watching Roland Martin's footage of Candace Owens, I gotta say, to me, I thought Candace Owens was an intellect, but now I see she only looks to be an intellect when she's the only one speaking in a room full of sheep. Like sheep that can't talk and go, bah, right? Like she looks smart. Like, you ask her a question versus sheep, Candace is going to come with a much more articulate answer than a sheep, right? In most cases, I'm assuming. Though sometimes maybe the sheep's bad might be fucking a good response to her responses. Bad, right? But a couple of things with Candace Owens, right? Number one, you're a very privileged person. You married into money. You sued your school for racism, which I have not a problem with any of that, especially about the suing the school for racism. But then you tell black folks and brown folks that racism doesn't exist. You can't even think of a recent time of racism existing. That you got to get out of this crybaby victim mentality, but yet you sued your school for money. Then you married into money. Then you said, basically, fuck it, I'm going to be a walking, talking puppet and speak on a lot of shit I really don't have any knowledge on, but because I have a vocabulary, know how to project myself as an intellect, I'm going to do my best. That's what you come across to someone like me when I take a look at basically everything you said as far as the DEI hires. It's like, do you look yourself in the mirror and realize that by your description of how you look at black and brown women and men at this point, if they're a pilot per se, you got to question of whether or not they're qualified because of the whole DEI shit. It's like, do you not realize you could easily say the same about you? We know that you don't have any credentials as far as starting a business, having any actual political background to be able to go ahead and say, I passed the bill, or I was part of this bill, or I read this bill. Nothing of that nature. So when we look at that, walking contradiction 101, right? It's not hard to see. And then, when you sit there and say that Trump and Harris's policies don't work, I'm like, which policies? And then which policies are you referring to under Trump, in which Trump made a better economy? Because some people don't understand that for every action there's a reaction, right? But just to kind of break this down quickly, and you can go ahead and take a look at the S&P chart and see if I'm lying, but under Obama, he basically took us from 8 years of losses, really 12 under Bush, because he managed to basically take out 4 years of gains, even under Clinton at one point. But Obama took out 12 years of fucking losses within 4 years, and then the next 4 years, he took us to new highs, not one downtrend in the market. Trump has handed the best economy a president's ever been handed, right? And immediately we start seeing a very choppy market. Goes up, goes down, goes crazy, downtrend. Anytime that he has a problem with a particular sector or a particular person, because he gets on there and rants and then threatens this and threatens that, right? Then there's always the thought of war possibilities because he can't keep his mouth shut. He wants to pretend he's this big bad guy behind a bunch of security. He's 80 years old, can't fuck around, probably pull up his own pants, but he's a tough guy. So in any case, let me hit my blunt, because at the end of the day, I'm getting irritated just thinking about all this shit. So in any case, the guy basically comes in, again, best economy ever, starts divisiveness, starts stock market reactions unseen, right? And we get protests damn near every motherfucking week, every single fucking month from every single group, including even me, including my groups, right? Mexican, white, black, right? All of the groups. Gays, trans, every single person that you could possibly fucking think of. Every single week. Because Trump gets his information on Fox News. Doesn't do any research, though. He's got a room full of fucking people that are supposed to be built for that and end up getting fired anytime they probably tell him that, no, you're wrong. But anyway, to continue on, after all the divisiveness, the hate spread, the fucking and just pouring a whole gas tank on fucking racism, right? Whole gas tank and spreading the flames on racism and hate towards specific groups. The guy puts fucking tariffs on China and creates a trade war. Same thing with Mexico, dampening foreign affairs, right? Within every single country. So as the consumer, we pay those additional costs, even though he you can try and give him credit for lowering taxes. Realistically, all you did was lower maybe $30 for the average American, anybody that's actually doing a law-abiding citizen anyway. You took away the First-Time Homebuyer Act. You took away, I believe, the Child Care Act, right? I believe you took away free lunches. A lot of shit. Said you were going to go ahead and make changes to healthcare and Obamacare and make, these healthcare companies compete so that way they would lower costs. Didn't do anything but change the name from Obamacare to the Affordable Care Act. That was literally it. Right? Built a wall that we pay for as taxpayers that Mexico was supposed to pay for. And then you pissed off Mexico even more by trying to put tariffs on them because they didn't. Still didn't. So you already created an inflation issue because you put more money into the market, even though it was only $30 for the average American. You gave your big corporate giant friends these big corporate tax cuts, which didn't really go to the average worker as far as bigger and pay increases to keep up with the inflation that you caused, but more so probably for the advertising, their yachts, positions, influences, new endeavors, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? But after all that, and sparking just the inflation right there, we don't even start to talk about the development side, right? Now, prior to COVID, we weren't at all-time highs for development. It was already starting to be fucked up because of the stupid-ass tariffs and fucking up the material costs, which then also translated into higher labor costs. And then COVID happens. 2019, October, we know about it. November, we know about it even more. December, continue to go ahead and push this shit out. They didn't do anything until March 6th. Not an incumbency, not a incumbency period, not a ban on, travel, nothing. But you're supposed to be the border supreme chief. Where was the protection then, Candace? Where was it then? Where was it when they tried to go ahead and pass a bipartisan bill under Biden and Harris, and Trump called to kill the bill, which was already basically favored to be approved by the Republicans and Democrats until he made that call, which was going to speed up the asylum seeker process, which would have sped up basically the vetting process, which would have been allowing us to go ahead and push majority out that weren't going to meet the standards or the specifications, also influencing those that know they wouldn't meet the specifications to stop coming here, right? Also putting more help at the border. All shit the Republicans would love. But no, he kept that alive because he wants to campaign on it again. So let's keep the problem alive so I can go ahead and win the campaign on it and point the finger at them, even though I'm the one that killed the bill. Yeah, you stand next to a liar just like you are. So anyway, getting back to Trump's era as a president and the COVID handling when it hit, and failing to protect our borders, failing to protect us, and basically so much that we had food trucks, refrigerated fruit trucks filled with dead bodies because capacity of hospitals and morgues were over capacity. Okay, so then you disrespect Dr. Fauci, that's been practicing science for years, has a master's, of which Trump has none, has never studied science in that fashion. And you start to say, you know what, well, I've heard UV light, I've heard that UV light kills it. Maybe we can find a way to inject that into people. Or maybe they can go ahead and take horse steroid pills and just follow that down with some bleach or some Lysol. I've heard that works. Right? And then Republicans are so against a socialistic economy, but you had created an economy just like that in COVID. Now, when you have a tenant act that protects you from basically getting kicked out, right, if you don't pay your rent, then you reward bailout money, then you have access to PPE money, a lot of fraudulent shit going on. You put more money into the economy with a very high demand now, with a dwindling supply to no supply. That is supply and demand, Candace. That's very simple supply and demand. It's basic high school economics. You could even take this down to middle school, Candace. It's a trickling down effect. The inflation was happening back then. But what ended up happening is as the supply continued to go lower, inflation. So in 2022, we saw that basically hit its top. And we had no motherfucking choice at that point but for Jerome Powell to start beginning to go ahead and say, well, now we're going to have to fuck around and raise interest rates. So when you sit there and say the economy was doing better under Trump, well, yeah, it looked good at first because you gave all this free money out, trying to combat COVID, blah, blah, even though you didn't protect us from COVID, even though you started a trade war, even though you basically took the most thriving economy a president's ever been handed and fucking tanked us, lost all gains in the stock market, and at such a discount that Wall Street bought everything the fuck up, including the homes. Yeah, Candace, it looked great. But if you have any sense and have any kind of high school background of supply and demand, you would know that we are seeing the effects of Trump's era. It's just that fucking simple. But you would go ahead and have people believe that, the transgender shit is being a bigger problem than that, or helping Ukraine with tax dollars, which again, you don't even know how tax dollars work, as none of us do, because none of us know where it goes. We do know that the government pays themselves off government bonds because they print fucking money. So I don't think you could debate me on economics. Maybe we're going to read a couple books. But when you start bashing other black folks and you bash other brown folks and shit like that about, standing up towards the racism and wanting to go ahead and call it out, but yeah, you did the same fucking thing and got paid for it, and you want to call us crybabies and shit like that, make it make sense. When you want to say that Trump and Biden's policies haven't worked and the economy was doing better under Trump, please explain which policies. When you want to say we shouldn't fuck around and be helping foreign affairs before we help our own, well, I might agree with you there, but at the end of the day, do you understand holistically how positioning works and really like actual real border protection, right, from the ones that are the most dangerous? Like, for instance, Russia, they're so close to us that Cuba, right, by Cuba, that is their closest I guess what you call rendezvous point, or at least access to the U.S. So why wouldn't we want to go ahead and be right next to Russia rather than being just in Poland? Now we have artillery next door. No water, no other country in between us. Just basically that little border that separates both, of which now has been violated, right? So we've depleted Russia's economy. We know that. We've depleted a lot of shit. They've resulted to BRICS and shit like that with other nations, which they would have already did. But in any case, they're pretty much depleting. And we have position on them, Candace. Position which we will strike first if anything happens. Same thing with China. Just by having and protecting Taiwan, of which, if we didn't protect Taiwan and your stupid ass golden boy managed to crash the stock market just with his dumbass comments the first fucking day, without even being a president yet, just his first fucking speech after getting a bullet to the fucking, well, not even a bullet, it wasn't, that's another thing, Candace. At the end of the day, where's the bullet scar? We know you love Trump. Where's the bullet scar? No makeup artist in the world is that good to go ahead and cover up a bullet scar that should be that fresh, but at the end of the day, I believe they confirmed it wasn't that. It wasn't even shrapnel. So in any case, supply and demand has been explained to you. I hope you understand it. I hope you understand that you look like a walking contradiction when you refer to other people as DEI and wonder if they're qualified when you really have no qualifications yourself and just strictly married into money after getting a settlement for some bullshit that you should have got a settlement for, but you married into money. And then you wanted to go ahead and turn your back and act like you're better than everybody else or that you're smarter than everybody else. But realistically, shorty, you're speaking in a room full of sheep. They go, bah! And you talk and you look smart, but at the end of the day, when they say bad, actually, sometimes they look smarter than you. Bad! Trash.